I had a very productive day today. At 5:40 a.m., I actually finalized the contract with our new manufacturing plant in Nairobi that will produce our product at almost 10% lesser costs. At 7 a.m., I had 150 interviews scheduled. I wanted to hire 5 engineers. By 7:30, I sent 5 offers for 5 of the most brilliant engineers that I've found in recent days. 10 a.m., I had a bit of a tricky meeting. I was meeting one of our sales guys. He did a small rounding error that tripped 14% of our margins. I sat him down, I talked to him, and I told him, well, this is how you learn. Because next time, you review the contract twice and thrice before sending it away. Looked at the watch, 10:27. I had 3 minutes to prepare for the board meeting. In 3 minutes, I reconciled all my numbers, created our 3-year strategy, went into the board meeting, and was able to get consensus on every single point in my strategy, which is very rare in board meetings. 1:23 p.m., to my delight, I got notifications that the new shipment reached the ports. It's a big shipment, so I needed to drive 5 trucks simultaneously to the ports. Went there, hired 20 workers. They helped me to get the shipment on the trucks and drove all the 5 trucks to all of our retail stores across the city for our customers to enjoy our new product line. Dear Diary, I'm always baffled by how those pesky humans think they're better than us. In one day, I did what takes an average human being weeks or months to be able to accomplish. Ladies and gentlemen, this is an imagined AI agent diary, maybe a few years from now. And I can see from your faces, some people are skeptical. Some people are rolling their eyes. Man, I can see you. And some people are excited for what I just said. The problem is this level of confusion happens at every start of a new technological era. When cars first came out, people never thought they would replace horses and carriages because they were thinking in the same mind frame of the time they were in. They didn't have roads, they didn't have pavements, crosswalks, traffic lights, askari al-murur, nothing was there. But in a few short years, the world adapted to this new technology, and horses were never to be seen, again, except in Zamalek. The problem is, in this scenario, we are the horses. And this begs the question, if thinking can be automated, if decision-making machines can actually do with grace, if production can be more optimized and accelerated by machines, then this begs the questions, what are humans for? And to really understand the premise of this question, I think we need to revisit a story that we've been telling ourselves for the past centuries. And this story has been told, I think, best by 3 main modern philosophers. The first one is a Frenchman called René Descartes. And he said, I think, therefore I am. And he engulfed the whole of the human experience in our thinking, in our minds. He told you that you are your mind. The second person is a very nice guy called Niccolo Machiavelli. And Niccolo said, everyone sees what you appear to be, but very few feel who you are. Which is a bit ironic because this was an advice for princes and royalty a few years back. Now it's an app in our pockets. We curate, we filter, we post. We're trying to project an image that we believe is our identity. And you know what they say, we always see ourselves through the eyes of how we think others see us. The third one was what they call him the father of economics, but his name is Adam Smith. And Adam was walking down a pin factory one day, and he found that one worker can create 20 pins a day. So he came up with the idea of the division of labor, and he thought that, well, if I can get 10 workers, and every single worker did just one tiny bit of the pin, I can produce a lot more pins than just one worker manufacturing 20 pins a day. And all of a sudden, this became the engine of our modern economies. And very quickly, this became part of our identity. This became part of our identity. This became our roles. Our role on the conveyor belt became the thing that we identify with. When you meet a new person, after these talks, for example, the first question you ask is what you do, right? And this became the thing that we identify with the most. So the story being told is you are your intelligence, you are your mind, you are your productivity, you are the performance that you project to others. And these became the pillars on which we built the temple of human value. Now, all of a sudden, a dragon is coming upon us, and it's about to set this temple ablaze. And of course, this dragon is AI. It thinks better than we do. It's way more productive, it's way more efficient. It optimizes supply chains way better than we can. And it can be any person. It can be the supply chain director, it can be the CEO, it can be the COO. And in a short few years, this will become a reality. We'll probably see companies that are completely run by AIs, and maybe with very, very little human intervention. On another note, I love dragons. Dragons were always shown in movies, Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter. I always loved dragons. Dragons came up again and again and again in different themes, in cultural themes as well. Interestingly enough, there was a major distinction between dragons in Western philosophies and Western art and Eastern philosophies. In the West, usually dragons are creatures to be killed. Like St. George behind me. He rode his horse, took his spear, and killed the dragon to see the treasures that the dragon was hiding behind it. In Eastern philosophies, it's a very different story, because dragons in the East are not something to be killed. The hero never kills the dragon. The dragon is a means by which the hero transforms. It helps the hero to ascend to completely different levels of consciousness, to unshackle from the thoughts and prisons that the hero has put themselves in. And I believe that AI is our Eastern dragon. And it's not bringing in a human crisis or an identity crisis. It's just bringing in a mirror for us to ask ourselves, if you are not your intelligence, if you're not your productivity, if you're not your status, then who the hell are you? This reminds me of a little story between a fisherman and a banker. The banker was vacationing in a small Mexican village, and he saw the fisherman coming ashore with the catch of the day. He went to the fisherman and told him, "Wow, did you catch that by yourself?" And the fisherman said, "Yes." The banker looked at his watch and then looked at the fisherman, and he told him, "But why are you coming so early? You could spend more time at the sea." And the fisherman asked him, "Why would I do that?" The banker said, "Well, if you spend more time at the sea, you can capture more fish, and you can bring in the more fish, and you can sell them to the market." The fisherman further inquired, "Then what?" The banker said, "Well, you can make more money, you can buy more boats, you can hire more fishermen, and then you can build a fishing enterprise that sells fish all across the world." The fisherman asked, "Then what?" The banker said, "Well, you can come back with me to New York, and we could IPO, and you could make a lot of money out of it." "Then what?" "Then you can come to a small village, you can fish whenever you want, and spend the rest of your day with your family and friends." The fisherman looked at him and told him, "Well, that's exactly what I'm doing today." Both men are right. Both men have perceived themselves in different light, in different perception. The fisherman sees their value as presence with family and friends, and the banker sees their presence, their value, as a wealth generator, and both are right. There's nothing wrong with both perceptions. The problem is, and to quote Eric Fromm, who said, "We traded a life of being for a life of having, and the more you define yourself by what you have, the more terrified you are from losing it." And something is coming to take something very precious from us. It's coming to replace replace how we identified ourselves by our rules, our status, our doings, and so on. And that might be a problem. Then again, this reminds me when I first looked at my daughter when she was first born. And I looked at her and she didn't produce anything. She didn't achieve, well, she produced some things, but not very useful things. But she was completely, by every metric, completely worthless, yet she was the most precious and worthy thing I've ever laid eyes on. So that got me thinking, because before we are able to do anything, we are so valuable. Nobody asks us while we are young that, what did you do or what did you accomplish, right? You're just valuable by just being. And then at some point in life, this value doesn't come from just being us. It comes from the grades that we have, the certifications and the degrees that we attain, the wealth we generate, and so on and so forth. And this is how we created our societies. This is how we created our social agreements. Our value is attached to numbers. And again, something is coming for those numbers, and it will be better than any one of us at producing and generating those numbers that we hold dear and attach our value to. So, I truly think that AI and this dragon is not coming to unleash a new crisis to us. It's coming to expose something that was always there. And I think there is a big opportunity whenever AI has come and created this post-work era that we're about to enter. Because I think AI is creating this opportunity to reevaluate the foundation of how we value humanity and how we value human beings. We've always survived, we've always learned to produce and optimize and so on. And I know it's hard to imagine this now, but AI will beat us at everything, at all of those three things. And if we attach our value to our productivity, then maybe we should grieve. Otherwise, maybe this is a new opportunity for liberation, like the Eastern Dragon and how it transforms the heroes, right? And liberation is a big word. It doesn't come easy. We have to rethink our societies. We have to rethink our schools, our work, and so on and so forth. But the thing is that intelligence and productivity were never the summit of being a human. They were only the things that we can measure. But then again, if we benchmark ourselves, our productivity, our intelligence, our efficiency, our speed, we're always come ranking lower than a machine. A machine will always be higher than us in all of those things. But maybe this isn't us. Maybe AI is coming to fix a century-old misunderstanding. Maybe. And by the way, I'm not trying to preach a world without work. On the contrary. What I'm looking at is a world beyond work as a primary source of identity. A world where we get our value not from production, but by our presence. Not by our efficiency, but by our growth, not by what we do, but what we become. And maybe the purpose of all what's happening and all of the change AI is bringing about is for us to escape being a function in society. Maybe it's an opportunity to bring back the polymath. Maybe it's a tool by which we can overreach our capabilities, not to be more valuable, but to see the limits of the human experience, and be better fathers, be better mothers, be better thinkers, scientists, CEOs, COOs. But then again, it's probably bringing us the opportunity to rethink how we value each other. Maybe it's time to narrate a different story, a different narrative of who we are as human beings. And the guy came maybe more than 1,000 years ago and said, وَتَحْسَبُ أَنَّكَ جِرْمٌ صَغِيرٌ وَفِيكَ انطوى العالم الأكبر. You believe you are a mere speck in the cosmos, yet the cosmos itself is folded within you. By Imam Ali ibn Abi Talib. Thank you very much.